One of the negotiation strategies or approaches into negotiation is obviously compromise. And when we look at compromise, how do you identify compromise as a negotiation approach? Well, there's a lot of argumentation. That means the parties are using a lot of arguments, they're using a lot of areas and items to defend their approach and ideas and value. There's a lot of one-way communication. That means that we talk to each other, not with each other. So you basically just say, this is what I want, this is where I'm coming from, this is my target and my idea. A lot of tactical games that I referred to in chapter number 5 in the manual that you all got. But there's a relatively good negotiation climate. That means people actually want each other. So perhaps they're coming from combat, can't figure out to reach an agreement in combat, and very often they end up in compromise. And then we often see that compromise is being used when we are involved in a negotiation that has a considerably huge difference in interest or quotation or values. Now, when could compromise be used on purpose? Because as you might remember, I actually don't promote compromise. I often find compromise to be a zero-sum game where you lose and I lose. But there could be a few situations where we want to apply compromise. And one of them could be if we're sitting in an extreme deadlock situation and we have tried everything but can't move out of that deadlock situation we're in. Could have been if we have chosen combat for whatever reason and we couldn't actually achieve success in combat. It could be if we on purpose want to let the counterpart win. And what do I actually mean by that? Because you might have heard me saying that concession, unilateral concession, is a bad thing. But we have a case where we actually might want to let the counterpart get the emotion and feeling that they won. You might have heard the phrase, it's not about winning the battle but the war, and that is the case. So you have a series of negotiation. It might benefit you in some cases to let the counterpart leave that negotiation with the feeling that they actually won. Or obviously the last items on the screen is when you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, that might be a situation where you want to utilize compromise as well. We have a few conditions for corporations if we move into collaboration, either partnership or smartnership. And one of the requirements obviously is that we have a well-functioning personal chemistry based on trust and openness. And that sounds just great on a slide, doesn't it? But I mean, obviously we don't step into a meeting, shake hands and say, I would like trust and openness, and the counterpart nod their head and agree. And there we go, we have trust and openness. It doesn't come that easy. It's not verbally agreed, it's something that happens from actions. Both parties must obviously believe that cooperation will give them a better negotiated outcome. So that means we have to believe in collaboration. And you will find negotiation strategies and coaches and mentors out there who actually enforces and recommend combative behavior or zero-sum. So not everybody on this globe actually feels that collaboration might be the best way forward. Then it requires rational and skillful negotiators. And obviously that makes sense, but there's a lot of people out there who are what I call unconscious incompetent. That means they don't know actually that they can't do it. So it is required that we are sitting with somebody who knows how to negotiate. And then a very simple one, but still very important, is a well-functioning communication. If our communication doesn't work, our negotiation is not going to work. And the last item is generosity. You need to be able to accept that the counterpart might be successful, and in some cases even more successful than you. But it doesn't matter, because if you are happy and satisfied with your outcome, you should be happy and glad that the counterpart came successful out of that negotiation as well.